This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome to From Dorms to Desks, job hunting tips for those early in their careers, a podcast brought to you by College Recruiter job search site, which believes that every student and recent grad deserves a great career, and hosted by Work Defined. Join our AI co-hosts as they dive into tips, tricks, and insights that will help you land your next part-time, seasonal, internship, or entry-level job. Let's get your career started.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Great to be here.
So our mission today is to really deliver a comprehensive snapshot of the global digital shift as we're closing out 2025.
Right. This isn't just about the headlines. It's about connecting the dots.
Exactly. We want to understand the deep systemic links between really 3 crucial pillars.
The physical infrastructure, powering it all, the financial landscape that's being built on top of it, and then the human cost.
The human cost.
Yeah.
The impact on the job market, which we're seeing right now.
Yeah. And we've pulled together a really powerful stack of sources for you today.
We have. We're using some fascinating data center visualizations from Statista.
That shows where the digital world physically lives.
We've also got current coin market cap data to really gauge the size and shape of, a nearly $3 trillion crypto economy.
And finally, a really crucial piece of analysis from Microsoft Research.
This one looks at which U.S. jobs are most exposed to AI, right now.
That's right. So we're going to start with that massive concrete foundation, the data centers.
Because without them, nothing else happens.
Then we'll track the value system that flows through that foundation, which is the crypto markets.
And finally, we'll get to the most urgent concern for, I think, most people, quantifying that threat and maybe the opportunity of AI exposure in the workforce.
So let's jump in. Let's start digging into the scale of this physical commitment.
To really grasp the digital economy, you have to start with the physical reality.
You really do. We're talking about data centers. These facilities are the engine rooms. They store, manage, and process this just exponential flood of the world's data.
And the recent data shows an astounding concentration of this power in certain places.
It does.
So, okay, let's unpack this a bit. The map of global infrastructure, it seems to be tilting heavily towards one country. Where is the epicenter of all this?
Well, according to the Statista data from this month, November 2025, the U.S. remains the undisputed dominant leader.
Dominant by how much?
They account for nearly 38% of all global facilities.
Wow.
Hosting a truly staggering 4,165 data centers.
That is an incredible concentration of digital power. But here's my question. Does that level of geographic concentration, almost 4 out of every 10 data centers in one country, does that pose a strategic risk to the global digital economy?
It's a great question.
Are other nations just accepting this, or is this, inevitable given the size of the big U.S. tech companies?
It's definitely driven by the historic footprint of those giants, Amazon, Google, Microsoft.
Right.
But the current surge is very strategic. It's intentional. The critical driver right now, the reason we are seeing this monumental historic build-out is specifically for AI workloads.
So it's all about AI.
It's all about AI.
Yeah.
It demands unprecedented compute power, and that requires an unprecedented physical plant.
And when you talk about the financial commitment to this, physical plant, the numbers, they just stop sounding like real money.
They really do. They sound astronomical. We are seeing commitments like OpenAI's. They've dedicated a shocking $1.4 trillion just for digital infrastructure.
Just OpenAI.
Just for their infrastructure needs between now and 2035.
$1.4 trillion.
That's not just running servers. That's building cities of servers, entire power grids to feed them, and the fiber to connect them all.
So $1.4 trillion just to support the new foundation for AI to function at scale. If we put that in context, that figure is larger than the GDP of most countries.
It is.
It signals that the biggest players see this AI arms race not as some temporary trend, but as the permanent successor to the mobile and internet revolution.
Exactly. It demands a completely new physical architecture. The spending profile is just unprecedented, and it confirms how permanent this shift is.
Right.
Now, while the U.S. dominates, we do have to look at Europe. It plays a massive role in creating network resilience and redundancy.
Absolutely. Europe as a whole hosts nearly 3,500 data centers, so it's a major global force. They aren't trailing by that much, but their growth is different.
A different dynamic, yeah. The power is spread across a few key European hubs.
So where are the main ones?
The UK leads the continent with 499 facilities. Germany is right behind at 487. And then you've got France with 3 at 21.
And what's fascinating there is the regulatory part of it, right? The reason for that distribution.
Absolutely. Europe's regulatory environment, specifically the emphasis on data sovereignty and privacy from the General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR.
GDPR, right.
That has actively incentivized the growth of local facilities. Companies are often compelled to keep data within certain borders,
Which results in a more distributed, maybe less efficient, but definitely more resilient network across Northern and Western Europe.
That's a perfect way to put it.
So in the U.S., you've got this massive efficiency, a kind of free-for-all build-out for AI dominance.
Right.
And in Europe, you have a more fragmented, privacy-driven build-out that values data sovereignty. It shows two really distinct global strategies for powering this new age.
It illustrates that strategic tension perfectly. Both are spending enormous amounts of capital, but, toward a different ends.
So we have this colossal, multi-trillion-dollar physical foundation being poured explicitly for data and AI. The logical next step is to look at what kind of financial value systems are robust enough and dynamic enough to actually flow through that network.
And that brings us, of course, to the $3 trillion cryptocurrency market.
If the data centers are the pipes.
Crypto is one of the most dynamic new forms of value running through them. Looking at the CoinMarketCap data, as of November 11th, 2025, the global crypto market cap is sitting at almost $3 trillion.
$3 trillion in digital assets.
Yeah.
This confirms it's not a fringe market anymore. It's a core, recognized financial asset class.
For sure. And the hierarchy is still defined by the originals. Bitcoin is the absolute market leader. It's nearing a $2 trillion valuation.
$2 trillion just for Bitcoin.
Just for Bitcoin. It's at $1,997,165,600,925 to be exact.
So close.
It's followed by Ethereum at about $391 billion. These two assets, they're the gravitational center of the whole thing.
The core store of value and the main smart contract platform.
Yeah.
But here's what's truly significant, and what I think needs deeper attention for anyone trying to really understand this system. It's not the volatile assets. It's the rise of stability within the system.
You're talking about stable coins.
I am. This is the crucial bridge that links this new digital finance to the traditional dollar economy.
It absolutely is. Stablecoins are designed to maintain a steady value, usually pegged one-to-one with a fiat currency like the US dollar.
They're essential.
They are. Without them, it would be extremely difficult for traders and institutions to move value around reliably in such a volatile ecosystem. They are the stable rails.
And their scale is just enormous now.
It is. Tether, which is the largest, holds a market cap of $184 billion.
And USDC is right behind it.
Robustly behind it at $76 billion. When you combine those, it just reflects this immense sustained demand for a dollar-pegged asset that can function 247 globally.
For trading, for payments, for lending, everything.
Right. And we've also seen increasing participation from established players. You have examples like DAI and now PayPal USD joining in.
It validates the need for this stable digital settlement layer.
It does. But beyond the core assets and the stablecoins, the ecosystem is getting way more complex.
Yeah, when people talk about decentralization, they throw around terms like layer ones and oracles. For the informed person who doesn't track this every single day, what are these other categories actually doing to attract all this capital?
That complexity is where all the innovation is happening. So if Bitcoin is the store of value and Ethereum is like the established city.
Okay.
Layer 1 networks are the competing real estate developers. We're talking about Solana, BNB, and Cardano. They are base layer protocols, alternative blockchains built to process transactions faster or cheaper than Ethereum.
So new applications can be built on them.
Precisely. And then you have the specialized tools that are needed to make these blockchains actually functional for the real world.
Okay, what kind of tools?
These are projects offering specialized services that drive deep demand. For instance, you've got projects like Hyperliquid, which focuses on high-speed decentralized trading, or Hedera for enterprise use cases.
And then there's Chainlink.
And most critically, you have Chainlink, which provides what's known as Oracle data.
Could you just quickly define Oracle data for us?
Yeah, sure. Think of it like this. Blockchains are isolated systems. They can't just know the price of a stock on the New York Stock Exchange or the final score of a soccer game.
They're closed off.
Right. An oracle is a secure mechanism that feeds verified real-world data into the blockchain so that smart contracts can execute accurately. Chainlink is the dominant provider of that crucial external data feed.
I see. So while Bitcoin and Ethereum get the headlines, that massive investment in infrastructure we talked about is really designed to support this complex interlinked ecosystem of stable payments, competing protocols, and these specialized data tools.
Precisely. And, we can't forget the cultural influence.
The meme coins.
The meme-driven tokens like Dogecoin, Shiba Inu, and Pepe, they're still notable, often acting as these highly volatile barometers of market sentiment, even without the enterprise fundamentals.
So the market is deep, it's serious, but it's also, at times, highly speculative.
That's the perfect summary.
Okay. So we've established the enormous physical infrastructure commitment, $1.4 trillion for AI. We've confirmed the massive financial scale of the assets running on it, $3 trillion.
Right.
This exponential growth in data processing and AI leads us directly to our third and maybe most immediate segment, the human impact on the job market.
This is William Tincup, and I'd like to direct you to a wonderful limited series podcast that Ryan and I recorded live at the ERE Recruiting Innovation Summit. We sat down with 20 recruiting and TA leaders from around the world to hear what today's best recruiters are doing to stay sharp, stay relevant, and stay ahead. It's called The Talent Shift. You'll love it. You'll find the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Listen, like, review, share. Do you?
This is where the theoretical efficiency of AI becomes very, very personal.
And for this, we're using that analysis from Microsoft Research from October 2025. It provides hard data on the risk exposure of various U.S. jobs to AI.
And the key thing here is they established these exposure scores by analyzing actual usage. They didn't just guess.
That's the crucial differentiator, isn't it?
It is. The methodology was based on analyzing 200,000 U.S. user conversations on their Copilot product throughout 2024.
And they scored tasks based on how well the AI performed and how applicable those tasks were to specific jobs.
Exactly. A score closer to 1.0 indicates a higher exposure risk.
Okay, so let's look at the highest risk role. The one AI is most effective at augmenting or replacing right now.
Interpreters and translators rank highest overall. They have a score of 0.49.
Almost 0.5. That's high.
It is. The data indicated an almost universal overlap. 98% of the work functions for interpreters and translators corresponded with Copilot conversations that showed strong completion rates.
98%.
The ability of AI to instantly handle language-based tasks has made that job category immediately susceptible. It's a near-perfect match for the technology's current capability.
That is a nearly universal capability overlap. It really highlights how AI is targeting language-based and sort of purely transactional knowledge work first.
It does, and the exposed jobs fall largely into two really consequential categories.
What are they?
First, traditional knowledge workers. This includes historians scoring 0.48, writers and authors at 0.45, political scientists at 0.39, and news analysts, reporters, and journalists also at 0.39.
So roles centered on research, synthesis, and high-volume text generation.
Tasks that AI models just excel at.
And those roles represent the intellectual core of so many industries. What about the other highly exposed category? The high-volume service and transactional roles.
This is where the scale starts to hit millions of people.
Right.
That category showed significant exposure and represents an enormous pool of the workforce. Passenger attendants scored a 0.47.
Okay.
Sales representatives of services scored 0.46. And crucially, customer service representatives scored 0.44.
These are the jobs that involve repetitive, rule-based communication with the public.
Exactly.
If you've spent any time on the phone with an automated system for your bank or airline recently, that 0.44 score for customer service reps is exactly why that experience is changing so rapidly.
It is.
So what does this mean in terms of sheer scale? When we talk about passenger attendants and customer service representatives, how many jobs are we actually talking about in America?
We are talking about nearly 3 million jobs in America alone.
3 million.
The potential for large-scale disruption in this service sector is just massive, especially because the tasks are so transactional and the exposure scores are so high.
But here's where the critical nuance of the human element comes in. The source pointed out one highly exposed role where deployment might be slow because of social friction.
Right. Hosts and hostesses.
They showed an exposure score of 0.37. So AI is capable of performing the tasks, scheduling, table management, queue coordination.
All of it.
But the question the source raised is profound. Would restaurant owners and, more importantly, customers actually enjoy a machine performing those essential face-to-face human functions in a dining environment today?
And that social friction really defines the current bottleneck for AI replacement in those front-facing roles. The technology is capable of the optimization, but human comfort is lagging behind.
In a high-end restaurant, a human host sets a mood. They handle unexpected issues. They provide an immediate emotional touchpoint.
You're not just paying for scheduling efficiency, you're paying for a welcoming experience.
So for high-volume back-end tasks like translation or digital customer service, AI adoption will be swift.
Because the efficiency gain is direct and there's no social barrier.
But for the human host, the social cost of replacement currently outweighs the algorithmic efficiency benefit.
That's right. And that gap between technical capability and social acceptance is the key tension for this next phase of job market disruption.
It raises a really important question about how long societal preference can hold back overwhelming economic efficiency in these huge job categories.
Very important question.
So we've tracked this global digital shift across its three critical pillars. We've seen the $1.4 trillion dedicated to building the infrastructure for AI dominance.
We've seen the $3 trillion digital economy with all its complex layers and stabilizing rails that runs through that infrastructure.
And we've seen the immediate quantifiable impact of this accelerating efficiency on millions of knowledge and service jobs right here in the U.S.
It is absolutely clear these three areas are not developing in isolation. They are creating a feedback loop.
A feedback loop where massive strategic investment in infrastructure is directly dictating where labor market disruption will hit the hardest and fastest.
That's the connection.
So we want to leave you with this final provocative thought for your own exploration.
Given that the U.S. leads the world in digital infrastructure, the power behind AI, and that AI is aggressively targeting those large transactional service jobs like customer service reps and passenger attendants.
How long can that societal discomfort, that preference for a human host in a restaurant, actually hold back the full technological replacement that these high exposure scores illustrate?
How long before the economic savings just overwhelm the social preference?
It's a really important connection to make between the multi-trillion-dollar investments being tracked globally and the immediate effects you see at your desk, or when you interact with automation in your daily life.
It certainly is.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.
This has been From Dorms to Desks, job hunting tips for those early in their careers, a podcast brought to you by College Recruiter job search site, which believes that every student and recent grad deserves a great career. Each episode, we dive into tips, tricks, and insights that will help you land your next part-time, seasonal, internship, or entry-level job. Subscribe to this podcast for free now, so you don't miss an episode, and visit www.collegerecruiter.com to find your next great job.